So what is somatic finance? In its simplest form, it's the somatic, the body, and finance, everything dealing with money. And they seem very separate, and typically they are kept very separate, but this is a big invitation to bring them together and to begin to discover something new, and that's very important. And so why is somatic finance important? From a macro level, we have a lot of suffering and problems around the integrity in our systems. We have a global financial system that is not working, and it hasn't been working for a long time. From a very individual perspective, everyone, whether you have no money or a lot of money, suffers around money and has issues that want to be explored. We can concisely call them, everybody's got a money thing. Everybody's got something around money that causes them to feel less than, struggle, feel pain, suffering, guilt, shame, a lot of fear, and all of these ways of looking at money and orienting around money are held in our intellect, in our head. And we're never going to be able to escape those concepts from our head. And that's why we need to bring our body in. Because our body has a unique, precious, very different form of intelligence. Our body is going to always tell us the truth. Our body is always in integrity. You and I and everyone in one of these forms can trust that our body is our ally. So if we can bring all of the stuff that we carry around money and into our body in a really intentional, conscious way, with a motivation of really looking at this and cleaning up something that wants to be cleaned up and being the best person we can be. That's why this matters. Because ultimately what wants to happen in life is we want to love one another. We want to be able to love one another and be generous and recognize that we're not just the only ones here on this planet, that there's others, and that ultimately our happiness and well-being comes from relating to ourselves, others, and the world and the planet. That's ultimately where happiness and well-being comes from, not from amassing a pile of money. So I hope you'll join me in exploring some areas of the body, the head and the heart and the belly. I hope you will gain access to the developmental stages of somatic finance, recognizing that we start in a fear-based, we're driven by fear, but ultimately we end up in a place of manifesting generosity, and we learn how to access our fear, move through it in a very creative way. We touch on sufficiency and recognizing what is just sufficient. We know that greed is a part of our life, and we work with that. We practice generosity, and we manifest generosity. And all of these things happen in our life, in our body, and we continue to develop over and over again in touching these places in a really workable, accessible way by accessing the wisdom in our body. So come join me.